Good morning, guys. Back on the podcast today. I'm really excited for today's chat. I'm here with Tamara from Sort My Space. She is a home organizer extraordinaire. I will call you an extraordinaire. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. I'm so excited to be here.
My pleasure. I'm actually really pumped for you to kind of share your knowledge because I watch so much of your stuff on socials and I just think it's so relatable and I'm just like, man, I pick up some great tips. I
Yay.
think you have some really good stuff to share. I know on my socials, the guys are really open to finding out a bit more about this because I know it's a bit of a mind boggle and it can be
Oh,
so
certainly.
overwhelming to get things organized and like that process. So I'm really keen to
Yeah.
dive into all that. But first, can you share a little bit with everyone about you and how you got into this space? Because it's always
Yeah.
nice to hear where everyone started out.
Oh, look, I think for the longest time, like even once I'd sort of moved out of home, in my early 20s or teen years, whatever that happened to look like, um, I'd live with housemates and I just remember thinking like, oh God, like why is everyone so messy and so lazy? And then got to uni
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm living in squalor, mum. And it worked and whinging about it because we ended up with my parents' help, like I was able to buy my first property at like early 20s type of thing. And
Amazing.
then I didn't have to live in the scuzzy uni accommodation with the shitty bathroom,
Yes, yes,
and little
I
things
can
like
relate.
that. And then it was only through that I think I really made sense of, oh, actually, it was when Marie Kondo did her Netflix special in 2019, and watching it, that's when the penny dropped for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, people, it's not that they're not doing it, it's that sometimes they can't see the way to do it, whereas it's so crystal clear in my mind that I'm like,
Amazing.
what do
Oh,
you
what do you
why are
mean?
you
I know.
doing it wrong? Why haven't you thought of no, but just twist it sideways,
Yeah,
and then it fits, like, or move that shit. Like, I don't know, I think I just must look at the world as like a giant game of Tetris. And so I'm like, no, you just move that thing
yeah.
down there to here and then boom, in you go. Ta-da!
I
And
love
everyone's
that.
like,
I love that because I feel like that with interiors. Like I can rearrange rooms in my mind, and you kind of
yes.
don't realize actually that no one else does that until there's some pinnacle moments where you're like, no one else does that.
Yeah. Or
That's like a superpower, right? Then you realize
right.
what the superpower is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my early days with Sort My Space, I remember there was a very big job taking on a shed, and it was like a shed slash garage slash part gym, and it was probably easily 20 meters by maybe 15, like, and
Wow.
ginormously tall. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna need an extra set of hands for this one. And I brought in another home organizer with me, and as soon as I did it, that like obliterated any thoughts of self-doubt that I had, because going, so I was just, and then she chimed in, and it was one of those conversations where you've not actually said the real words out loud and you've gotten to the same end goal. And I was like,
I
oh
love
my
it.
God, yes,
I
like
found my
this
people.
is what it is. This, I can do this because, oh my gosh, other people that can do, and I've just been hanging out with these, normal people my whole
Yeah.
life. And that's why I didn't make sense that I had a gift per se. I just thought I was different. And
Yeah.
only in that, having, and now the team I've built myself, like it's great. We just begin to go, oh, I was thinking, yeah, actually, and maybe over the, yes. And remember that thing we did in that house in another suburb, and everyone
Wow.
brings it all in and we're like, yes. And then we turn around to the client, oh, right, 1 second, let me translate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. So you're
Sorry.
so in tune with one another because it's just like, you're on that same path. And I think that's so
Yeah.
amazing to find that and share that with people. I think is like such a huge gift to be able to do that because, what we think is like a streamline, just roll with the punches and let's get this done can be like, oh my God, completely overwhelming. I'm not doing this. Total stress out
Yeah.
situation for others. And so I
Yeah.
think it's so great that you're able to do that for people and
Yeah.
talk that process through so that they can understand, almost like there's so much meaning behind that. I feel like I talk about this a lot with my styling clients, same thing around purpose and understanding why, and you know,
Yeah.
and then they get, it's cool to also see, I don't know if you find this, they have these, you see them have these light bulb moments when you're showing them and they're like, oh, this makes sense now.
Yes, absolutely. And even to the like, it's almost a permission piece sometimes in some homes where you get to go, no, no, like I can set your home up how mine's set up, but what I want to know is how your brain thinks about these things and what you're
Yes.
doing in the space, who's using it, how are they using it? You
Yes.
know, like coming in to do, say, your pantry, knowing you've got a daughter, I'd be like, right, what is it like? How far is she is along with, packing lunches herself and doing things like that? Do we
Yeah.
set up a lower station so that she can do that?
Yes, please.
Whereas, yeah, right. And bringing the breakfast down to a level, like my children are 4 and 6, and for like our breakfast is on not the ground floor, but that next level above for the pantry, just so that the kids can be going in and learning those self-care,
Yeah.
and life skills from a like they've been doing that for years now.
Yeah.
Though, yeah, it's about changing the mold in what people like. Oh, I
Yeah.
have to have it like this. Who said? The
Yeah,
ATO call
totally.
you about that? Like, no, no. Like,
Totally. Can
mm,
I, yeah, you and I are on
yeah,
totally, I have the same conversations with stuff like, I think people get really caught up in what they see and what they think
yeah,
they should have, or what they think other people have said that they should have. And it's like, no,
yeah,
break the mold. We're not doing that in your home. How do you set it up your way to support you? And I know that same philosophy is, you and I are just like,
yeah, absolutely. Like, I even thinking about like from a styling perspective, I know from time to time I go, oh, I really should get like the proper curated pictures. And what lights me up though is our family photos. So I'm
yeah,
like, great, well, how do I pick the right photo of us on the beach in lieu of a beach photo, and then turn that into the canvas and place that here and just get the right. I'm all
absolutely.
right. If we have to go to the beach and do another family photo shoot, all right. Like,
I love that.
I'll wear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm,
I think that's
yeah.
so awesome. And I know, like, starting off a business, it can be, you know, you know,
Yes.
like this for a
If you're
while.
not watching the video, go back to that moment just now and have a look at my face. I was like,
Yeah, it can
yeah.
be, but I think it's like, I feel like I listen to some of your content and I feel like you and I are right at the same kind of spaces where it's just like you just spilling your truth, reminding people it's okay, that
Yeah.
it's not perfect, and but here's some ways around how we can still function good. Um,
Yeah.
and it's okay if it's not the way you think it should be. It can be your
Yeah.
way, and molding your home that way, I think, is so great. And I loved, I watched you doing a mutual friend of ours um
The
kitchen,
kitchen the other week.
and
Yeah.
the gadgets, and you're like, guys, what is this? And you know what? It was so cool because I was literally like, I'm sure I have some of that stuff that we've been given for gifts that I just need to
Yeah.
offload. I was actually like, oh, light bulb moment. I'm getting rid of all that stuff. That's a great one.
Well, that's it. Like, I think so often, things come into our homes one item at a time. And so you think, oh, great. Like, thanks for this gift. I didn't even know a avocado cutter cora knife slicer thing existed in its own. I was like, wow, here's me doing it with a spoon and a knife like a dummy
Yeah.
all these years. And
Yeah.
then the question like begged, I was like, so I'm curious, have you ever used it? Um, and
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, all right, hang on. Like I'm great for the tools that will make your life easier, like lazy Susans everywhere, those spinny
Oh, yeah.
turntables,
I've
like
got those in my pantry. Absolutely.
love them. Like I would almost have one on the bedside table, but I don't have that much on the bedside table.
And
Though
aesthetically, I'm glad that you've said
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's like we could get a nice clear acrylic, like slimline thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Though,
Good.
for
Fine.
if it's improving your life and making things better and helping like a big part of the messaging for that Sort My Space and our philosophy as a company is that we're about customizing your home to work in your favor. Like that's
Yeah.
what organization's doing, not the human twisting its way around into a pretzel to
Yes.
make the four walls, right? So
Yes.
if you have an avocado knife corer spoon thing and you do use it, I'm
That's
great.
cool. But
That's
if you
fine.
don't, it's
And
not
if you
necessary.
have
Love that.
had it and then pretended you use it, and still each day when you go to open an avocado, you find yourself reaching for a butter knife and a spoon, then what are we doing here? Like, just
Absolutely.
let go of the item.
Completely agree with
It's
that.
okay.
What I want to talk about is like, because I think the thing with organization is people can find it overwhelming. Like, where do I start? What do I do? How do I do this? How do I let go? Some people find it hard to let go, like me. Man, if I'm on a tangent I did, I did it on Monday actually. I just was like, right, getting rid of some stuff today and marketplace, and it was all happening.
Yeah.
But I'm very conscious that not everyone feels that way, and I have clients that have just moved from into a new home, and they had to
Hmm.
Airbnb it for a while, and now they're like, we there's so much stuff we want to get rid of, but there's so much stuff we want to organize, and how do I do this? And I was like, well, you
Yeah.
need to watch the podcast because I'm gonna like shed some light on this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think too, the trick that people find themselves getting into is you look at it's like thinking, oh, it's a long weekend, like Easter recently, 4-day long weekend. Yeah, I'm going to do all of the things. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, the list is quite literally, from waist to the floor down. And it's like the old pocketbooks that or what were they, the photo up that you would
Yes.
see in Grandpa in the TV shows and it would
Yeah.
roll right out. And that's great, though, adding in that element of the prioritizing to make sense of, okay, what do I do every day? What are the parts that are going to move me forward in a big way is
Yeah.
great. So we recently, like, having the time aside with the cars out of the garage in order to update the storage that was in there, because even in my own home, we live here, and I don't know, there was a recent reel on Instagram where I am honestly, my toe bowl is under the shelf
Oh, I
of how
saw
I park.
that.
It's within, there's like 2 inches at the front and 1 inch at the back between my car and the racking. So I've
Yeah.
managed to make it fit. And equally too, when the car's in there, there is no getting to the shelves. So things will just live in a almost way for now,
Yeah.
and then it's about having that quarantine time away so that I can do the thing. And equally too, in the time when I am doing it in my own home, I'm then also not being with my kids. So then there was
Yeah.
like that element of, oh, well, it's the long weekend. Should you be doing that? And I'm like, okay, well, how can I include that? Like, what can I do?
Yes.
Whereas having someone come into the home of like our clients, we get to, my kids aren't there. They don't
Yeah.
need
You have full
validation
permission.
and love from me. And I will absolutely talk to your kids and be like, wow, that Barbie is so cool. Like, what's she
My daughter
wearing
would be like,
today? Have a conversation with me. Great. Oh, is that your favorite Paw Patrol? I get it. Like,
yeah.
rubble on the double. However, they're not coming back to me for this. So I get to, ask a few quick questions of the homeowner, to make sense of their brain and
Mhm.
how it works. And then I get to do the thing in the home to just marry how the brain flow chart works. I guess if you wanted a
Yeah.
visual for it, like what the pathway is in your mind, and
Yeah.
how do we marry that into a home that works in a way that it fits with the real estate, pun intended, that
Yeah.
is literally available inside the home as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the other thing that, I mean, I've got into a ton of homes where there isn't a lot of storage and you
Yeah.
have to get creative,
Creative.
right? And I think also,
Absolutely.
even when you have kids, I mean, I have a 7-year-old and I also have a husband who has OCD. So I really have to marry the two and really make sure that how we function
Yeah.
not going to stress him out, but she can still play. And so
Yeah.
we've had to create some really cool storage ways to do that, to hide it away
Yeah.
when it needs to be, but also easily accessible. And I guess you would come across that all the time just because every home is different, everyone lives
Yeah.
different. So it's like very specialized to each person.
Yeah, definitely. The systems that we look to implement are definitely about finding that synergy between how do we use this space and who uses it and how are they using it. Our
Mm.
home, like my own home, I we don't have a playroom. Our kids play with their toys in the living room. So I was like,
Mm.
great, what can I do that has this available, and though too doesn't mean that anybody who comes over for dinner is that tiptoeing around Lego pieces, because if you don't
Yes.
have young if you don't have young children at the moment and you step on a Lego, oh my gosh, it will
Yeah, it
it
could
can
soul
end you.
destroying. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Abs-
so it's like, how can we find a way that it works in a level of the vision that the family want to hold for that utopia, and then
Yeah,
still playing into account sometimes there's budget constraints, like that I'm so
yeah,
great to allow you to keep all of your things and set it up functionally. However, if it's functionally accessible, sometimes that means it's not as jammed in there as it used to be, and
mm,
then that means we do need a little bit more space. So if I'm not putting on another room or buying you a garden shed, which is not necessarily my intention, how do we do that in a way that
yeah.
flows with your home? So some of the creative things we've done in those instances are making sense that, and you've probably seen this, like linen cupboards in some homes these days are
Not
smaller than
just
the
linen.
pantry, and you're
Yeah,
like, what?
yeah,
Do you know how big bed sheets and towels are? Like,
yeah,
this is not a bottle of sauce
totally.
here.
Yeah. That and pantries. I've been into some homes, like even property styling, and
Yeah,
we open things up, and I'm like, how are people meant to function with this? This isn't a pantry. This is like a hole in the wall.
yeah,
It's
absolutely. And
very
so
real
then,
to some people. That's like,
yeah,
their reality. And so it's like,
yeah,
how do you
how do we
that work?
find a solution that still works? So in some instances, it's been about taking the maybe the linen for the guest room and putting that at the top of that wardrobe, because that wardrobe probably isn't needing to hold clothes all the time, and it would be
Yeah,
completely understandable for anybody coming to visit that, hey, this is the linen for this bed and it's in this room. I don't
totally.
need the entire closet myself, like, come on
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah,
And then
and
it
that's
still
not
makes
always
sense.
it's
Mm,
not always obvious, I guess, and that's where you would bring such a wealth of knowledge into a home because
yeah.
I've never even thought of that, and I'm like, "Oh, I could probably do that. Yeah, I can do that."
Yeah, and, well,
Yeah.
and even in the kids' rooms too, because then it's proximal to the bed that you're making as well, which is great. Like,
Mm.
and then it's given. Oh, like honestly, my linen cupboard is. If you're a visual well, I don't. You'll be fine with the measurements. I don't know how the listeners driving in their car will be like 50 centimeter, almost 2 foot long subs by almost 2 foot long subs by
Yeah.
almost 2 foot long subs in a cube, and there's like 4 holes in the cube, right? Like four, and
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this? Where is everything meant to go? And
Yeah.
as soon as the piles start getting high, it gets precarious to pull things out, even. So we
Yeah.
roll the towels now because you can kind of pull them out almost as if they were in a rack without being in a rack, rather than
Yeah.
dealing with the leaning pile of, the
Oh,
leaning
yeah.
tower of Pisa that is the towels that fall over, right?
I definitely feel like I fight that battle
Yeah.
with my
It's
my linen. Absolutely.
all the time.
And I
Yeah.
saw you the other day using the linen fold-in, um,
Oh, the boxes that they have at
yeah.
Kmart at the moment.
And I
Yeah.
was like, "That's such a great idea." Because 'Cause
It's
I'm always
really
like,
great.
"Where is everything? Where are the," and
Yeah.
it's all in there
Keeping
together.
the set
I was like,
together.
"Oh, man, this is great."
Yeah,
I haven't
years
done
ago there used to be a hack where people were putting it inside the one pillowcase, and then the part of me was like, but then the pillowcases are wearing unevenly, like one's on
Yeah.
the
Oh,
outside
yeah.
holding the others, and I was like, oh, I can't get on board with
No.
this trend. So now I'm like, oh, okay, it's in a box, and I do wish there was a slightly larger version of that box as well, because I've got some of the beautiful stuff, that's got a bit tufted or something, or it's got
Yes.
tassels, and I'm like, huh, how do you fit
How do
it
you
in here?
yeah, squish it in?
Like, yeah, get a bigger box, it's fine. How, though, having, because with the single beds, you can often put the sheets and the quilt cover together. So that's that whole set now, grab and go and
Oh,
exchange.
covers and
However, when you
covers
get the
and
nice,
gold. Love
yeah,
that.
Nice bougie
Love.
ones, one each.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. So much knowledge. I mean, I'm sure, like, when I talk to clients, they're like, wow. And I'm like, wow, listening to you right now.
What?
Because
Oh,
I think it's just like, people have stuff. They have a lot of stuff.
yeah,
Right? And it's like, what do you get rid of and where do you put it? And what do you
yeah,
find the most common, like, what are the most common rooms that are the hardest that people struggle with the most? And what are the most
hmm
common problems you think?
yeah. So stationery seems to be a big,
Mhm.
like in the like office, pens, pencils, or it'll be notepads and papers and planners and because everything is still that often doesn't wear all that like quickly. So you'll buy a folder and it's reasonably expected to still be good in 20 years kind of thing. Like it
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
wear down like other things do. So, and because it all still has a function, yeah, and do we need it? Like, where are you
Mm.
using it? Like, what's happening? I don't want to give the best part of your, cupboard in your ward in your office. Like, usually offices are in bedrooms, so I don't want to give the best part of that cupboard away to holding empty stationery that you're not using
Yes.
because it's still good. Like, if it's great, can we sell it? And if not, can't we donate it and just let
Let it go.
people who do need be able to access it in a more budget friendly way for them or take it, like depending on how that
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you find
craft,
people really have trouble letting things go? Like, is that a thing with clients? Or once you're there, because you can kind of talk them through it, it's like by yourself, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I can't do this. But with
yeah.
someone there to support, it's like, oh, let's do this.
Do you know what? Sometimes it can go both ways really easily. So
Mm.
sometimes there's and we will come into a home and still put like, I'll listen to you go, but Tam, like, I don't want to get rid of the baking stuff in the pantry because I want to be the mum that bakes and I don't bake right now and I really want to be that mum. And I'm like, great. And and then we're gonna have like, and I'll probe into that and I'll go, okay, can we just talk about, what that looks like? How much is, how many hours a week are you working? Like, when would you reasonably find time? And so I allow you to find the time when that could actually happen. And then I'll
Yes.
give you that permission piece to go, okay, you like, here's your task. This weekend, I want you to bake. You said Sunday afternoons are usually great for you guys. I want you to bake something this Sunday afternoon. And then just let me know what you bake, and I'll remember. Like, how's that cookie
Yes.
tasting? What
I
happened?
love that.
you know,
Like, really
to
accountable.
be
Yeah, because I
because then
feel.
finding the time that they can bring it in allows that to happen. And equally too, when they notice, I told her
Not.
4 Sundays ago that I was gonna, and I'm still not doing this. And then they can do that introspective check of going, all right, why? Is it that I haven't had the time? Like the beautiful pink top in the wardrobe, have I just not worn it in the past 12 months because there hasn't actually been a reasonable occasion? Like maybe it's quite fancy and you're like, well, I'm not just busting it out to go to the
Yeah.
shops. Like
Anyway.
maybe
Yeah.
I haven't been to a baby shower this year. Or is it that even when I had a reasonable opportunity, I still chose the other pink top that didn't have long sleeves or wasn't as frilly? Or,
Yes.
so there's conversations like that where we just try to really future pace into the version that either does or doesn't use this thing, and
Right.
then go, great, can you just observe your behavior? Because that's another part of it, right? It might be that up to that point there's a little bit of like, well, I know how I've been living, and at the same time I can't necessarily answer these questions in the way of going, well, did I wear those jeans? I don't actually know about those jeans. I definitely wore
Mm.
some jeans. um and being able to then have those conversations, and later on watching the client match, like make sense of their behavior and their patterns that they're doing, they
Wow.
then feel more empowered to go, oh, Tam was right, I'm actually not wearing this pink top. Or haha, yes I am.
Yeah.
Photo, send, see. Yeah,
I love that. There's so much psychology behind how we live, right? And you
absolutely.
know, I totally get that. And the wardrobe thing, I know as a woman, I absolutely am like, I was literally thinking after I did my whole whirlwind on Monday, I was like,
Yeah,
next stop
Yeah,
in wardrobe. I'm just going to pull everything out and go for it.
definitely.
But it's still overwhelming. I'm like, do I
Yeah.
really want to open that can of worms?
Look, and if you're at home by yourself doing this, DIYing it, I definitely, like if I was in your home, I would pull it all out 100%. And probably like, and I might even do it in sections depending on how much you've got. Though it
Mm,
is totally okay to just pull out the hanging or just
yeah,
empty that, like get that entire category together. So if you've got all the pajamas over two drawers, empty both. However, if it is all pajamas in the one drawer, empty that and
yeah,
assess the pajamas. You can
yeah. Break
break
it
it
down.
down a little bit like that because that's the other thing. People go ham at it, right? And they grab everything, they pull it out like it's Christmas, and then they turn around and look at the pile and go, I'll just make a coffee.
Yes. Oh my god, what have I done?
All the dopamine is gone, and
Absolutely.
then they're like, I don't know what I've done. And then they're just shoving it back in, and we're like, it's okay. It's all right. We've got you. My dopamine
Yeah.
doesn't wear off like that. Let me.
Absolutely. And that's
Mm,
obviously, I guess, the value that you carry is you can get in and get it done, and you have so many tips and tricks up your sleeve that you can just be like boom boom
yeah.
boom boom boom. It's not like, you've got to ride that roller coaster of
Yeah.
emotion to get
Yeah.
to the end, and however many hours that's going to take, and we're all time poor. Um
Yeah.
so like I can see money well spent, honestly.
Oh, well, I believe so, absolutely. Though
Yeah.
even just sometimes it's even just having that, like a lot of clients I notice they're like, no, no, I just want you guys to do it for us. And then all of a sudden they're like there and a
Right
part of it.
there.
And then they're doing something because it's like that energy moving in that space has then given them some to by proxy, like take up. And then they'll
Yeah.
be organizing another little thing. And then there was just a home that we were in northern New South Wales in Casuarina the other week. Stunning home, by the way. Oh my goodness.
Mm,
And all of a sudden I've sort of had to go and disturb the client from her little organization project that she took on that day to be like, hey, we've got the next lot of stuff out of the wardrobe. Can you just pop in and have a look and we'll do the review together quickly?
yeah.
And yeah,
That's so
and it's great.
great.
Like it builds that up and it
Yeah.
all creates that momentum. And then equally too, there's things that we like to suggest if you're wanting to sort of tackle it yourself at home. We're like, okay, get your 5 favorite songs on Spotify or wherever you are consuming your music from, and then
Yes.
put them all in a playlist. And then just for that time, whether
Focus.
it's,
Get
whether
into it.
it's, I'm going to clean out like this shelf of the pantry, or I'm going to just group the categories, or go
Mm,
through the pots and pans and just look at like, why are people holding a saucepan that's my one I fry eggs in, and this is like, but then I use this one to cook dinner, and I'm like, did the eggs tell you they didn't like that pan? Like, what happened there?
yeah.
And
The
then
stories we tell ourselves, right?
yeah, yeah. But that's my mashed potato pot. I'm very interested to hear how you fielded the concerns from the potatoes that they didn't want to go into the pot you boil the eggs in. Like, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's a size thing, right? Like you do want the big pot to do the mashed potatoes in, but we don't need 3 of them because that
Yeah.
one is for the mashed potatoes and that's the one I cook stews in. I'm pretty sure they could go together.
Yeah.
And I'm not a chef, so I'm very open. Slide into my DMs and let me know if I was wrong on that, and that's fine.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, but that's why it's so varied, right? It's just not cookie
Mm.
cutter. Everyone works differently. Everyone lives differently. Everyone has their things.
Yeah.
You
And
can
the homes of the people that are a chef, like absolutely, I'm all for you guys, like them having utensils
multiple
and things that
everything.
I've never even seen before, or a lot. And if that's what they do and they do it in that way, great. Let's work out a way
Mm,
that we can actually, you know, have this stored in your home in a meaningful way that works to facilitate that and make it easier for you to do the things you love. Because
absolutely.
like other if it's
Oh,
if it's I love to do that and I just cannot even get to the point of pulling out, like again I jump back to that baking and it's just a great example, but if all the baking is on the top shelf and you love baking, but the thought of pulling down that thing, knowing that that container might even weigh up to 6 to 10 kilo, like flour and things are heavy, right? And everyone just
Yeah,
dumps it in a tub and sticks it up high, and you've got to bring that down overhead. No way. Like, let's go down and put the
totally.
paper towel backstock or the wine bottles up the top. They're small.
Yeah,
Mm,
totally. Totally.
yeah.
But I think it's just like it doesn't always click until someone has the
Yeah.
conversation, and then that awareness pops around, and all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
looking around, you're like, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, the beauty of what you do and what I do is like we can shed
Yeah.
light so that people can I do you find, like, for me, I love the process of transformation.
Yeah.
But more, I love watching the clients and watching their face and watching them change and watching them have those realizations, and then that end result of not like, oh wow, look at how great this looks, because we know that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's more like them enjoying that.
Yes, it's like the text message 2 days later, like, "Oh, I just went out tonight and I came home and I can't tell you how much better my bedroom feels now because everything is like I feel like it's my sanctuary." Like there was a client in
Mm.
Oxenford just the other month who we've worked with her in the past and then she's had some life changes. So she's like, "Hey, this new thing happened. We've got, family members have changed. Like come back and let's do things again." And we did. And the beautiful messages from her about
Um,
how well she is now able to sleep in her home because we've
wow.
just we did her wardrobe and her bedroom and the cupboard, like, oh, it just warms my heart. Like, it honestly, that's the thing, right? I'm like, yes,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
helped
I
you.
know. It's like that's how you do
Yeah.
it too. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
feel exactly the same. It's not
Yeah.
really about the thing we do, it's about the feeling that it
Yeah.
gives people, right?
That's it. It
Because
would be the beautiful, like, family memories that people are creating in their living space, knowing that you've picked like, they've got the right mat, they were able to play board games on the coffee table or, and sit on the couch and enjoy
absolutely.
that time together, right? Like,
Absolutely.
oh,
And it's got so many layers. Our home has so many layers, so many facets that can really stop us from so much enjoyment
yeah,
in life and just
yeah,
feeling good. I feel like that is just like a huge thing. I talk about that daily now so much because I
yeah,
know that it really changes people's lives, and I just don't know if people really realize until they experience. I'm sure you'd find this,
yeah,
people on the fence about, investing in things like what we do, and,
yeah,
oh, is it really necessary? I can do it myself or whatever. And it's like, but then you watch those changes happen and, you think, oh, you wait,
yeah, yeah.
you
Or
know,
sometimes they've like, and this might happen with your clients as well. They invite me into their home, and then all of a sudden they're going from, "Oh, just come and have a look at the pantry," and then 4 minutes later, we're in the garage. We're going upstairs to the wardrobe. We're looking at everything because as soon as that
absolutely.
like that train starts to come out, and I guess part of it
Mhm.
is maybe they're feeling seen in the congestion in the space, and then also just going,
Absolutely.
"Can I just show you this?" And
Yeah,
just in case there's an
one more
idea that
thing.
pops out. Yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden we might send a proposal and we're like, cool, to do the thing that you've called us up for. This is,
This
here's
is
our
it.
proposal on this. And if you want to take it all on, we can do that and that can look like this. And then
Great.
it might be whether we go, sometimes there's that spousal objection, like, oh,
Yes.
husband doesn't, he says I could do it myself. I'm like, that's great. And I believe you can too, because I do think this is definitely something that can happen. And then I'll often even say, like, how about we do it together in the one space that's the most critical? And you might find then it's contagious because I've seen it time and time
Yes,
again that, you know, they start
100%.
to, and then they make sense of how I guess how my brain works looking at the space and the questions I've asked, and then they can map that across as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But how cool is that also that then they get that spike of inspiration
Yes.
and
Yeah.
energy to do the thing? Like, I almost find like that's almost better in a way, because
Yeah.
it's not like,
Mm.
you can do the thing and you can change it, but when they're doing it, it's just like a thousand
Yeah.
times better because they're getting it, they're doing it, and then they feel
Yeah.
good because they're like,
Yeah. And
oh,
that's that
I
sense of
taught her I did it,
achievement too.
and she did this, and look what I've done now. And then,
Yeah.
it just spirals out of
Yeah.
control in a good
You
way.
know, and Lauren said that, but bringing in a rug would really like add texture and warmth and bring a space together. And so now look at me, I bought all the rugs, and look, I got one in the
Yeah.
kids' room and one in the office. And you might be like, yay, I love that. And I
Yes.
possibly would have chosen a slightly different thing, and I still think what you've done is great. And if you love it, I'm on board. Yeah.
Totally. Totally. I mean, that excitement, when
Yeah.
they see the changes. I mean, I've got a client at the moment, they've got all new stuff coming, rolling through, and I'm getting daily messages and photos
Yay.
of like, look what came today, and look at this. Oh my God, the linen came today. And it's so nice to see because that they're just like, they're totally in that bubble of,
Yeah,
look at what we're creating. And
I
I mean,
know.
I'm completely all for that. Do you find kids' spaces are the most tricky? Like, do you involve the kids, or is it more involving the parents? Or I saw your face
It's
when I said, "Do you involve the kids?" You're like, what?
and I'm all for involving the kids as far as like, let's teach them the routines. Like, if you're going to bring the next lot of toys out, let's put this one away and things like that. And there
Mm,
is a tipping point with the age, and each like, this will be at a different level for each family.
yeah.
I know I cannot show my children at 4 and 6 a toy and be like, now, do you think we can donate this one? That like
Oh, this is
that
so
can't happen.
interesting.
It is the most important thing to them as soon as it's in front of them,
Oh,
and they haven't played with it. Like,
I'm so glad we're, because my daughter is
yeah,
100% this person. Like,
yeah,
she has a thing for soft toys, and they're like exploding everywhere. And
yeah,
and I'm always like, oh, like, let's just go there and see what we can donate. And she's like, oh, they have memories. They all have memories. And I'm
yeah.
like, I don't really understand. Am I going to have soft toys in my house forever?
They
Tomorrow?
pack down in they pack down in vacuum bags really well. We recently did that in a
Yeah.
17-year-old boy's room because he still had some soft cuddlies, and we're
Right.
like, okay, at this point,
These
like
things.
they were stuffed at the top of his wardrobe. So I was like, I know you're not in a point where you want this out on the bed for, when you're ready to start dating, and he's in year 12, like. And
Yes.
so we backed them down, and I know that they're safe and they're in a neat little package, and we were able to neatly put them up and buy back all of that space at the top of his wardrobe so we could declutter, like, alleviate some of the
Yes.
congestion in other areas.
Mm,
And that was meaningfully stored for him because they're special. And I'm so here for that. And
yes.
equally, too, we do need, like, so thinking about some of the playrooms I've been in, I've looked at the toys and gone, my kids don't play with that, and I'm not sure what that category is. So there's sometimes where we're like, I'm sorry, are these friends with this? Like, how do
Yeah.
I,
How does this
or are
work?
they separate? Yeah. And
Mm,
so there are some of those idiosyncrasies that as a parent, you would know about your child.
mm,
And I do love to involve our children in that Christmas time and doing like the Kmart wishing tree and things like that and
yeah.
donating around then. And they get that transaction. However, honestly, as soon as it's in front of them, that is my
Yeah.
unicorn.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Okay.
and
Like
six
a normal
others.
thing.
Like,
It's not. My daughter's not going to end up being a hoarder. Okay. I feel
yeah,
okay.
okay, my child's 6. I wouldn't say that she's.
She's got
But
a big collection,
we're still
Tamara.
doing the longitudinal study. Give us a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Though
Fair.
there's definitely like that's valid. And then equally too, I know that the more times like so my kids often come when we like so if we do an organization project, we take away the donations so that they're not then driving around in your boot for 3 weeks, like and then
Yes.
accidentally somehow getting pulled into the garage because you were going to the beach and you needed the boot space, and then they made their way into the laundry, and then they made their way back up into the wardrobe.
Mm,
No, you
yes.
agreed it can leave. We're going to get it done now.
Right.
And so
That's a pig.
then yeah, like
It's
having
not like
having that
dangling the pig.
conversation, and they get to see what we get to like how we're donating, and then they've met the woman that owns the charity, and she's really involved in them and being like, oh yeah, and we're going to package this up, and there'll be another little girl who really loves that. And so I'm looking for that to inspire them in
Mm,
so far forward as to go, oh, okay, I love it and I'm okay now, it can go.
yes.
And equally too, I'm also not about being like, Oh, you love that. No, it's time to go. It's been here 6 months. Like, no, you love it. We let it live.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a tricky one,
yeah.
that one.
It's
I've
a
definitely
yeah,
struggled with
fine
that.
line to walk.
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely fine line to walk. Anything else like key stuff you want to share with listeners?
Ooh, I think like there shouldn't be an organizer that you invite into your home that tells you you have to get rid of things. Like that's not the
Mm,
philosophy I subscribe to, and I'm not
love that.
out to make everyone into a minimalist. Like my home alone, I have a husband and 2 kids, and we live here. Like it is not perfect, actually. I think this morning I even put on my stories, I'm doing my makeup with these 6 Hot
Yes,
Wheels
with the
cars
cars.
watching me.
Can relate. I think I've got like a Barbie sitting in my bathroom, and yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't.
the aerials in
And
our shower in the ensuite. Like, okay,
that's
yeah,
real life, though, right? And I
yeah,
think it like there's so much on social media and Pinterest, and everyone feels like it has to, be this picture
yeah,
perfect go home thing. And I think it's like none of that is real. Like, let's be honest. But I just
yeah.
think it's just not shared. And I totally agree with you. Like, I just took on a client who had a stylist come to their home, and he was like, I really want to keep this artwork. She's like, absolutely not. And that kind of like really fires me, because I'm also like,
Yeah,
that's a person's home, and
yeah,
they're expressing that they want to hold on to something. It
yeah.
means something to them. It's part of their personality. And you're telling them, no,
N-
just
No,
flat out,
and
no.
not only that, but absolutely not. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
And it's,
but
and I'm
maybe not
sure
in this space. How about we go to another
it was
room?
actually great. Like, and
Yeah,
I do feel like it's finding the right person for
yeah,
you. I'm sure there's organizers and there's organizers, just like there's stylists and there's
yeah,
stylists, and everyone needs a certain
yeah.
way to
Like
support them.
yeah, and even I mean, if you look at Instagram at the moment, like the gorgeous influencers on Instagram that have these beautiful wardrobes where the entire thing is all the sports bras lined up in a rainbow. That's great. I've only got 5. They're okay in a drawer. Like because my
Yeah.
home actually can't facilitate that because for me it's more important that my pants and skirts are hanging up and my,
Yes.
like my work clothes like and so
Absolutely.
I think in some instances, people can hold themselves ransom to a vision of a
Mm,
world without seeing the full picture. Like we don't have the floor plan of that person's house. You might have 4 kids and they have none. Like that is a very
yes.
different level of things that they're, the what they can spend their time on and what things are in their home. So I think
100.
little of those idiosyncrasies without seeing the full picture, like it's not yes, I think sometimes people can feel like, well, that one aspect of that person's life was perfectly curated, so everything is. And that's
Absolutely.
that happens to be the one camera angle that I've worked out is great in my home because we need a
Yes.
kitchen reno. And so I'm a stand here near the coffee machine and with the white cupboard because then you can't tell that my bench tops are orange and look like milk has been spilled on them because that's just the mottled design. Like
Yeah, 100%. I think it
yeah.
is really like, have that
Mm,
awareness, and also
yeah.
have that awareness, your home, your life, your living. It's
Yeah.
got to be for you, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be because, your friend that you had coffee with told you, oh, you should do it like this because everyone's doing it
Everybody's
like this.
doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, lots of people do the flocked hangers. I really like them. So I don't do
Yeah.
it.
No, I
I mean,
broke
I
up with
still
them
have
a little
fun.
while ago too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's just, it's a really interesting space as a creative going into people's homes. I think it's really interesting space to be in at the moment. I love
Mm.
that you shared the reality of what that really is looking like. I love that. I
Yeah.
think there should be more of that.
Yeah.
That's why I got you onto chat, because I think
Yay.
that's the key thing. It's, making sure that everyone feels like it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a stylist. My home is, I didn't even make my bed today, honestly. I was
Yeah.
rushing at the door to go to school,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like,
The
that's
whole mat
okay.
is sideways from where I ran in when I was coming back because I was like, my headphones. And then a carpet had gone sideways. I'm like, I'll fix it in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I
Mm.
think that's great, but I look, guys, definitely follow along and sort my space. Like, you
Yeah.
guys have some great. I love seeing the ins and outs. You can pick up some great tips and stuff, but
Yeah.
like I love that you keep it real and have a lot of fun on
Yay.
the way, which is so cool. I
Yeah.
definitely think we need to chat about some things in my house. Um, I have some,
Absolutely.
like, just some things that, like, I just don't think have worked, and I've
Yeah.
tried this, but I think I need someone that's got, a bit more
Yeah.
insight.
Look, and sometimes it's not even that it didn't work. It might be that you're on the right path with that, and you just don't necessarily know that the item that I know about, like the tool,
Yeah,
exists that would have facilitated what you create. Like, right? There was
yeah,
a home recently towards the end of last year, North Brisbane. We put in the three-tiered shelves. Have you seen them in like Kmart and well,
yes,
they're essentially everywhere. And the family had never seen that item before. And bless them,
wow.
they've created a nickname. They're like, it's like a mini grandstand for the cans. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. Yes, it is. I
That's so
love the
great.
cans on the grandstand.
Yeah,
And it looks like that. And that's so cool. And as soon as we did that, like that, the depth of that, the little things
it
that was
came.
able to achieve, because
Yeah,
instead, otherwise, the option was having big long tubs in this 50 centimeter deep pantry again, pulling it forward all the way. And
yeah.
cans are heavy. Whereas on the tiers, all that beautiful like visibility, the
I do
access,
have
you can
those
pull
in
the
my
one out.
pantry. I do have
Yeah,
those in my pantry.
yeah,
You'd be very
tick.
proud. You'd be
But
very
yeah,
proud.
like
But
sometimes it's not like I think people sometimes feel like they've failed because they couldn't get a space right. And what it is
mm,
there's actually a thing that would have better facilitated that for you.
yeah.
And let's bring that in,
And you shop
right?
that stuff all the time. I feel like I'm
Mm,
having that same conversation with clients about, furniture and stuff. It's like, as soon as I'm talking to someone, I'm like, I know exactly where I'm going to shop. I know
yeah.
exactly what I'm going to show you, because we do
Hmm.
it all the time and we see it all the time and we know the ranges that are out there that can support that, right? I'm sure
Absolutely.
you're absolutely right in that pocket. You're like, I've got
Yeah.
10 solutions for you, Lauren, that you don't
That's
even
it.
know.
Yeah, and then too, equally, we can bring that in based on budget. We're like, right, if
Mm.
we're needing to operate, like there's been a home even that had zero budget for product, and the client was a school teacher, so she was able to bring home all of the reflex copy boxes from school, from
Ah,
the photocopy paper in. There, all of a sudden, we separate the box from the lid. There is a tray and a tub.
oh my
And
God.
then
I
she's like,
love
"Oh my
it.
God, this is great." And she loved it because she's quite eco-conscious too. So she loved the sustainability aspect in
Wow.
that. And meanwhile, I'm like, this is also bathroom products and they're a bit wet
Weird.
and just watch out.
Yes.
However, this definitely works and you can see what we've done. And if, as that evolves, if you
You
acquire
can
the right,
copy.
like a container of some other description, boom, done, you
Yeah,
know?
it's so great. And I guess that is the other thing. It's like, I'm the same. Like, we're all, like,
Mm,
everyone has a budget, and it's like, how do you
yeah,
work around that? And there are some creative ways you can absolutely
yeah.
do that. Like, and I'm sure you've just proven you
Well,
can.
as you would as
Ways.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There are
There's
always ways around it. And I
some
think there's,
corners that we will not cut for the standard that you hold yourself to, right? You're gonna be
absolutely.
like, I love you, and this is one edge, like we cannot trim the fat from that, like let's go over
Yes.
here and look at
Yes.
maybe not doing this, or I'll give you
Yes.
2 containers here and not 3, and we need the proper rack there because
Yeah.
that is the long game, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. There's such an evolution there too. I think people think they've got to go all in, and it's like not always the case. It's like,
Yeah.
sometimes you can, I don't know, I chunk down projects for some clients if they're budget conscious. It's like, well, we'll
Yeah.
start with this. This is the priority.
Mm.
And, or they'll do an e-design where, like, I'll push them to a point, I'll get them this
Yeah.
far, and then they'll, do the rest.
Hmm.
If they get in trouble, they know they can ring me and we
Yeah.
see what we can do there. It's like there's always ways around it, but it's more about starting, right?
Yeah,
Starting the process,
absolutely.
making
Yes.
the changes.
And ugh, progress
Perfect.
over perfection, right? Like I
100%.
think it was Cohen Ray who said his book that he wrote with well over 140 spelling errors is better than the book that you've never written. And I'm like, as
Wow.
soon as I get to remind my clients of that, they're like, oh, okay. Whereas
Mhm.
sometimes I think they look like, we have to get the whole kitchen
Everything.
like sorted now. And I'm like, all right, that includes a reno, and this is not my zone of genius.
Yeah.
You know, whereas what if we get you to like, if we just invest a day doing the system, that will make the next 2 years while you're saving for your reno so much more comfortable.
100.
And then do the thing and call us back and yeah, we'll help. By
Yeah.
then, I already know all the stuff you've got. You can just send me a picture. Like, actually, can you just call me when you're doing your design brief? I'll be like, I love it. Change this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because there is that. Do you do stuff like that? Like when people doing kitchen renos, do you like consult on like storage options and things?
From time to time,
Yes.
there was like
Mhm.
the mutual client that the friend that we both have, I consulted on doing the wardrobe designs for her new home,
Oh,
because she
great.
was using the IKEA systems, and I know that so well. I've put that in many a house,
Yes.
from our end anyway. So
Great.
I was like, great, I'm familiar with how much clothes, like
Let's
how
set
many
this
clothes
up.
you've got. Let's go. You're gonna need this, this, and this. And one of the
Mhm.
first ones, I remember the brief that the person from IKEA had put together, and I was like, oh, I see where they've gone, and I've seen your wardrobe. That's not going to work for you guys. Like, no, we let
Yeah.
me do this. And so yeah, we've
So good.
consulted on things like that as well.
Amazing.
Equally too, it definitely helps when we've seen what's going into it. So because I
Yes.
had been in that home before and then knew I was going to be partly facilitating the move back,
Yes.
um, that was where my zone of genius really came in, because I was like, great, I get spaces, I get how much
Yes.
you've got, and yeah,
Yes.
things like that. And it is
Yeah, because it's one
stunning.
thing to make it fit in the space, but it's also making sure that it can hold what you need.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and two, you like, I also am not about to go, well, it's the Gold Coast or Brisbane, we don't need jumpers. You can have two, because
Ah,
sure as eggs, like once every 5 years, I swear we get a cold
it's
snap, or it's
freezing.
unseasonably like cold in March, and you're like, what
Yeah.
happened? Like,
That two
and then
jumpers
you're
are
left
not
with
going to cut
nothing.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
totally.
it's about being real about it too, so that it,
100%.
yeah.
100%. Well, thank you
Yay.
so much. I've so loved our chat today. Oh, God, I feel
So
inspired
much
to go and
fun.
do some
Yay!
stuff. So thank you so much, guys. Check out Tamara and Sort My Space. Her socials are awesome. Go to the website,
Yay.
book in a chat
Yeah,
if you feel inspired.
sortmyspace.com.au
There you
is
go.
the web, and it's the Instagram, and it's the Facebook, because I am organized.
And you're not just Gold Coast based, are you?
No,
Where are you?
yeah. So we
Australia wide.
service from North Brizzy to northern New South Wales in person in Queensland, and we've just launched Adelaide, which is
Adelaide.
very
That's right.
exciting. My
Yes.
beautiful 2IC was like, oh, I'm gonna have to quit. I want to move home to be near my family. And I was like, I love that, and you are not leaving me. What do we do? Oh, we'll expand the company.
Oh, I
And she's
love
amazing. And
that.
so I love that I
Well,
had the
Adelaide
opportunity to do that,
listeners,
right?
get on it.
Yeah.
That's so
Um,
exciting. Wow.
yeah. And
Well,
then obviously we can do virtual everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, so good. Oh, the
Often
choices
consulting
are
with
endless,
God.
guys. The choices
Yeah.
are endless. Well, thank you so
Yay.
much, Tara. I've really so appreciated our chat today.
Yay. Thanks so
I
much for
hope you
having
guys
me.
have got inspired by all of this, and I'll talk to you next time.